1971 and cost $240.
Lots of money.
Bill Gates did all that. So.
Is that it? I'm pretty sure there might be something else. Oh, I knew it.
Stick of something.
Yes. This
How did you know what I stole?
Acrylic paint. Britain, I think alike. Acrylics were first made commercially available in 1950s. These were mineral-based spirit paints called Magna, offered by Broker Artist Colors. Psychedelic.
Wait, what color?
Purple. The best color.
My dress is purple.
No, don't give it to her.
No, keep it away from her. She's going to snort it.
And that's our presentation.
All right. You had all these effects. They actually had a smoke machine back here. Did you all see that smoke machine and this little light thing?
Yeah.
Amazing. It was time travel. There was no.
Yeah, you went to some extent here in getting those things together. So you should explain Guyana, because a lot of people have no clue what that is. It was
Okay,
a major
so-
problem here. I mean,
Yeah. Basically, Jim Jones started a cult, and he took people from America, flew them to South America to a place called Guyana, and it was about 900 people, and he basically brainwashed them into believing into his spiritual practices, and that everyone should follow him, and that the best way to get to the other side of life was to all die together. However, that was only known by Jim Jones himself and not the 900 people that he took there. So they all decided to get together, and he passed out drinks. Later, there was a rumor started that the drinks were filled with the cyanide, and so it spread around camp. He found this out, and then he decided to reveal his plan, but in a manipulating way. So everyone then decided that Jim Jones is right. Let's all just die. It'll be the best thing for us, and we'll leave the earth, and everything will be wonderful.
Well,
So
there's a part.
silence is very painful.
Well, there's a part of that story though that you didn't tell.
Yeah, there were people who were resistant to it, and
There was a family. They got involved, and then a congressman from San Francisco, I think it was, went over there and decided we got to get rid of this thing. And so on the way back to his plane, I think he was shot. I think they killed them.
Yeah.
And then they went back and said, everybody's got to drink Kool-Aid now because we are going to be found out. They're going to find us out. They're going to, and they all died. So there was a congressman that went over, because some of the families wanted their kids back, and he wasn't going to let those kids go back. So the congressman went over to get the kids back, and he went to Jim Jones, talked to him, and he started bringing some of those people with him to the plane, and then they shot him. They literally killed these people on the way to the plane, and then they went back and found 900 people that died. So it was quite a thing. It started in San Francisco. He took people from San Francisco. That's why this family and the congressman were going over there.
Wait, they shot the congressman?
Yeah, they shot and killed him. I think they killed him. Yeah, they shot everybody. I don't remember how many. Do you know anything about that history?
I just knew that there was a resistance.
Yeah, they shot a lot of people, but not like hundreds. They shot like maybe 4. I don't remember. But that's where the Kool-Aid then came in, is go ahead and do it now because these people are against us. And it was like Waco. You all remember Waco?
Yep.
You've heard of Waco? This is the same kind of thing. They lived in this country, and they all saluted Jim Jones instead of David Koresh. So it's kind of creepy that people will live their lives and give their lives up to that. All right, well, a lot of things happened. You did it via the smoke machine. Thank you for being the assistant, sir. That was very nice of you to help out there. You might want to go through the Red Scare a little, because Disneyland with the Mickey Mouse and the communist flag. You might want to discuss that a little, because again, you did that a little differently. So you have to make sure that Disneyland is not communist. So do you want to discuss the Red Scare? Who knows most about it?
The Red Scares in the 50s, it was basically during the Cold War when everyone was afraid that Russia was going to come over and infiltrate, and so everyone was afraid that there were Russian spies and like, oh, there's no one we can trust and stuff, and we decided to be creative and mesh it with Disneyland because it happened around the same
Right.
time. So Disneyland is not communist, Mickey is not communist, it's a happy place.
That was the McCarthy era,
Yeah.
and Ronald Reagan, in dealing with he was head of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and there were lots of stars that were being found out that they were communist. If you've ever seen the Way We Were movie with Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford, they go through it in that movie because these people were we learn a lot from going back, especially you that do the era, but the rest of us too. But we got to clear some things up too. I like the Outer Limits thing. Did any of you ever watched any of those programs? You should rent you can do it on Netflix. Outer Limits was quite a program. I mean, it was done very well for being in the, what was it, 50s or 60s?
It was like 59. It was like a mid.
Yeah, that was an incredible
We were
program.
gonna do the Twilight Zone, but
Yeah, that was then too.
I remembered the Outer Limits from being a kid, and that the introduction was actually pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
So we, looked it up. And, they're messing with your TV and everything, which
Right.
is pretty cool.
Yeah, you should rent one of those on Netflix just to watch it. I liked how you brought up the Righteous Brothers too. You brought up interesting things that maybe people, there's so many things we know.
Don't I have an amazing singing voice?
Oh yeah.
Oh, and
He's
I
so
love,
talented.
Susan, you were up there being, in the beginning, you were reporting.
Yeah.
Who knew she had such a deep voice?
I know. Cam Pod.
She's like mimicking the whole thing. I thought that was interesting. So, well, what else? Anything else that you need to bring up from that era?
There were some things that we didn't cover just because we wanted to do more interesting things, like you said. So a lot of the things that everyone already knows about is the moon landing
Right.
in '69,
Sputnik, Russian
Yeah.
satellite.
JFK being assassinated in '63. That would have been a little bit morbid, so we went with his speech instead, which was in '61.
Right.
NASA was created in 58.
A really large thing we skipped over completely was the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And it was more or less, we were trying to keep things more light, and we covered Korea.
We
more
did
or
the
less
spy.
to
You did the spy plan. I thought that was
The spy plane also. Yeah, I mean, we really, Vietnam is such a huge part of that. We wanted to focus on other aspects that people may not have as much knowledge about, because everybody has had to take history classes about Vietnam and that
Right.
era and the war, like the Watergate scandal also.
right. Right. Anything else? Yeah, that era, I think many of you, especially 60s and 70s, you're more aware of. So, the Rosa Parks thing, you kind of did that in an interesting way, but phenomenally important in all of that thing too. So, all right. Well, we thank you. Thank your assistant, and thanks, Mom, for coming in. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the intent of all of that was to have you working together as a group, and of course, it doesn't always go so well, does it? Many of you, of course, emailing me frequently about, we're not getting together, it's not coming together. Well, that's life, and as I told you, part of this getting together could be the guy or woman down the cubicle from you that won't help. You think when you go to work, hey, we're all here, so we're all going to get together. Oh, no. No, I've got work to do here. I've got a project to complete. Well, we're on the same team. So you think getting together here at Chapman was difficult because, somebody lives here and somebody lives there and they have a schedule. They have Taekwondo at 7. We can't get together at 7. Well, you think it's going to be easier. It's a challenge, and that's why a group class like this is very good. It has humbled me throughout to see all the different times you've been together, and I think as a group we've gotten closer, maybe more closer than you get in most of your classes you have, because I think everybody's been with at least somebody in here differently in so many times because of the way the groups presented their projects too. This final thing though, more of it, us just being entertained on this last session, not really learning much about group work. You were supposed to be doing that when you were actually putting these things together. What did we choose to do? How do we divide up the responsibilities? Who's going to bring what and whatever. It'll be interesting to read your papers on to how you thought it all turned out. But it's been an absolute pleasure. You are a blessing, to say the least, of a class. So I'll be around next year, but keep my email address around if you need to contact me for anything. Try to do it through Hotmail instead of Chapman, because I don't exactly go to Chapman's email every day. But have a good rest of the summer, ladies and gentlemen, and if you'll just put your papers up on the table up there, put them together, so just, if you're handing in two, obviously, put them right in order there. Have a good rest of the weekend, and graduation is coming up for those who graduate.
So when I